Happy spring, and welcome back to another episode of Take Care Tuesdays, where every Tuesday we come here to deep dive into conversations about how we nurture ourselves. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for coming by today. My name is Denny, and I like to think of myself as a self-care enthusiast. I come here every Tuesday to share conversations or lessons that I've learned throughout my self-care journey, or lessons that I'm still learning as well, in hopes that it inspires you to also take better care of yourself. You can find all of the previous episodes on my IGTV section or the guide on my Instagram. If you love this episode or any of the other ones, you can support this series by liking and commenting, of course, but also by sharing with a friend or even saving for future reference. Now let's get into this week's episode. So spring is finally here, and I couldn't be more excited. It literally feels like a shift is happening, and I can feel the sunshine finally approaching. Last year around this time, we were about to deep dive into full-blown pandemic and lockdown, which took all of us by surprise, not just in the United States, but over the world. And so I think we can all agree that we all deserve a little bit of sunshine, right? So today we're going to talk about accepting joy and allowing ease to go further into March's theme of refreshing. There have been a series of occurrences where I participated in instilling my own joy. And I'm sure you all can relate to this as well. When you have faced any trauma in your life, you can sometimes develop triggers, and those triggers can show up whenever they feel like it. And sometimes those triggers can show up in a way that will seem like they're trying to protect you from disappointment when there actually isn't anything to protect you from. We can put guards up for so long that when joy finally comes knocking on our door, we can do everything in our power to close the blinds and act like we're not home. Or we'll give ourselves timelines on when we feel like we'll deserve to feel joy. You know, things like, when I finally do this, then I'll be happy, or when I'm finally in this place, then I'll feel joy. I personally believe that joy is a choice. If you want joy, then you can have it. I mean, obviously, life is going to be life, whatever that is or whatever that's going to be. But that doesn't dictate whether or not you deserve joy or if you can have joy. One of my favorite quotes about joy is from Marianne Williamson, which says, "Joy is what happens when we allow ourselves to realize how good things really are." With accepting joy, you also have to be willing to allow ease into your life as well. Everything doesn't have to be that hard. Of course, you can go through deeply challenging times or be stretched in ways that you hadn't imagined, but that doesn't mean that the things that you go through have to bring about a great amount of stress or hardship. Even when life can bring some of those hardships to us, even in our lowest moments, if you're willing to allow it, you can still find joy and develop ease. Accepting joy and allowing ease is our way of showing gratitude for all that is. Joy is everywhere if you're willing to look for it. I've personally found a big shift happen in my life when I've decided to find joy in every piece of it, even in the small things like finding random parking spots, or big things like giving birth to a child. And I have found much peace in surrendering to being present and allowing ease to come into my life. So if you're wondering what that looks like, I have 5 tips that will help you to learn how to accept joy and ease into your life. So the first tip is to look fear in the eye. One of the main reasons why it can be so hard for us to accept joy into our life is because of fear. Fear is something that is just going to show up, but that doesn't mean that it is an actual threat of danger or harm. Fear is like uncertainty that's just doing too much. And uncertainty is just going to be there because none of us really know what the future holds. So fear is going to always find its way to travel along. But the key to not letting that fear take your joy is to look deeper into the fear and find out the root cause of it. When you look into that fear, it's not to find someone else to blame it on, but to find out what it's actually trying to protect you from. Fear may be something that is always present in your life, but that doesn't mean that it has to take the driver's seat. The second tip is to avoid comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. We will never be completely content with our lives or be able to find ease if we're too busy comparing ourselves to what we see someone else is doing, especially if we're comparing ourselves to someone else on Instagram. We are not the same, and our experiences are not the same, even if they seem very familiar. Just because someone went through something and it may have looked one way does not mean that it will automatically look that way for you as well. We have to be willing participants in our own life story and not just look for ways to command C or control C someone else's life. At the end of the day, what we perceive of someone else's life is literally just that, just a perception. and it is more than likely not the totality of the truth of that person. The third tip is to create mantras and affirmations. Sometimes we may need reminders that joy is ours and that we are allowed to feel ease. You can do this through creating or finding mantras or affirmations that will remind you of this joy and also help you to manifest it. You can put these sweet reminders anywhere, whether it's in your bathroom, at your desk, or in your car. And when you see them, read them and say them aloud if you feel comfortable. Here are some examples of mantras or affirmations that you can use. I am accepting joy and allowing ease into my life. I am deserving of feeling joy and ease. I am worthy of feeling joy and ease. Joy is mine and ease is mine. The fourth tip is to count your blessings. You won't have too much time to reject joy if you're too busy recalling all of the things that you're grateful for. When you feel negative thoughts that are creeping up, that are leading you in the direction of doubt or uneasiness, redirecting your focus on all of your many blessings can help bring more joy and ease into your life. You can do this by writing 3 things that you're grateful for every day, whether in a journal or in a blessings jar. The last tip, which is tip number 5, is to lean more into happy moments. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you don't have to wait for anything to feel joy. You can feel joy now if you want to. If you see joy, accept it. If you feel happiness, feel that. Let it sink in. Get completely present in these moments, as present as you possibly can be. We can't repeat or get back any of the time that we live. So why waste a happy moment on believing that you have to wait to feel all that it's giving? Joy is a choice. You can make the choice to have joy by memorializing it with pictures or souvenirs, or you can start to be mindful of when you feel joy and ease and close your eyes to really sink into that moment. Get in touch with that moment through your other senses like your smell, your taste, the sound, and really sink into what that feels like without judgment. So the homework for this week is to write down 3 things that you're grateful for every day for the rest of the week. Whether it's in a jar or in your journal, just write down 3 things that spark some type of joy in you. And it can be anything from big things like a promotion, or anything that's small like it stayed sunny all day or it didn't rain. Those things count as well. So that's the end of this episode. If this resonated with you or you feel like someone else could use this, please feel free to share it and also save it for future references. Thank you so much for showing up today. And as always, until next time, take care.